Fixing my volume. Live video. There we go. All right. Surely I need a retwist, but who's really paying attention, right? Trying to keep these stray pieces of hair from all over the place. Betwabble, beautiful people. Betwabble, TT. Betwabble, yeah. Betwabble. Lord, have mercy. Okay. All right, y'all. Trying to arrange my hair in the way y'all don't see all the new growth while I'm woofing and stuff. But I like it to woof. Yeah, I do, but I need this part right here. I'm leaving it alone as long as I possibly can, TT. Well, I may do the back, but right up in here, I need this to thicken back up as much as possible. Yeah, what Sherry said. Yeah, I know. I thought about it, but I'm gonna just leave it alone for now. I just keep it oiled and stuff, and like I go to twist because remember how it was thinning real bad up here? It's getting thicker. I got all kinds of juices and berries that I be putting up in here in the top, and I even bought some of Nene stuff from Facebook. But I can tell it's working. I also use the I mix it with the well, I don't mix it. I just use one product, then I add another the Wild Hair Growth Oil. I've been using that for a few months, and I got the Nene stuff. What you got, TT? Send me the name, or if you got some, I might be swinging past that way today. If you scoop some in like a little bag or something, like hand it out the door when I come by, I'd surely appreciate it. All right, because I got to pick up some more masks. A lady that works with Leisha made me some masks. So, okay. All right, y'all. Well, happy Tuesday. It is April the 28th, 2020, day 132. Guess what, y'all? I'm super excited. After all this lockdown and stuff, I got to be extra careful. I get my braces off in a couple weeks. The dentist called me. About to text you. Okay, thank you, girl. Dentist called me yesterday. Well, actually, the day back in March where everything shut down, I actually had an appointment for an adjustment on the very day that they were closing down. Virginia was closing down all the dentist offices and everything. I was like, I got a question here. I said, what happens if we don't open back up right away? Because I'm supposed to get my braces off like in 2 weeks. We had that conversation back in the beginning of March. They said, I said, well, what if things go a little bit longer and it doesn't open back up right away? You guys are still closed. The dentist was joking with me, talking about something. Well, you'll have permanent retainers. I didn't think that was too funny, but they actually called me yesterday, and the soonest they can make my appointment is May. It's like May the 15th. Yes, May 15th. But they still following the social distancing and stuff. So they told me, they said, look, when you get here, text us and let us know when you outside, and we'll let you know when you can come in. So they bringing in the patients a few at a time and doing all that practice. Still trying to practice the social distancing. But I get it. I'm cool. Long as I ain't got to keep these on any longer. I appreciate the time that we've spent together. But the rubber bands, all this stuff has got to go. So, but I get my retainers, so I'm super excited about that. I know that has nothing to do with the reading today, but I just, I want to let y'all know, because y'all going to notice it here in a few weeks anyway. Hey, is her braces gone? Yep. Rubber band soup. Okay, y'all. It is day 132. We are reading 2 Chronicles 30, 31, and 32, y'all. Yes, Joshua.
After April is October.
What?
After April is October.
Boy, no, it is not your birthday month. I already told you, October is not after April. Okay, y'all. 30, 31, and 32. It's not that long of a reading today. But we got 2 more days. I could just make it 1 more day. I may just read the last chapter of 2 Chronicles tomorrow. It's 36 chapters. 3, 4, 5. We may just finish it up tomorrow. I may read the last, and we'll go right into Ezra. Okay, y'all. But anyway, let's start the reading for today. 2 Chronicles chapter 30. Okay. And Hezekiah sent to all Israel and Judah and wrote letters also to Ephraim and Manasseh that they should come to the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah, the God of Israel. For the king had taken counsel, and his princes and all the congregation in Jerusalem, to keep the Passover in the 2nd month. For they could not keep it at that time, because the priests had not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither had the people gathered themselves together in Jerusalem. And the thing pleased the king and all the congregation, so they established a decree to make proclamation throughout all of Israel, from Beersheba even to Dan, that they should come to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah, the God of Israel, at Jerusalem. For they had not done it of a long time in such sort as it was written. So the post went with letters from the king and his princes throughout all of Israel and Judah, and according to the commandment of the king, saying, Ye children of Israel, turn again unto Yahuwah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and he will return the remnant of you that are escaped out of the hand of the kings of Assyria. And be not like your fathers, and like your brethren, which trespassed against Yahuwah, the God of their fathers, who therefore gave them up to desolation, as ye see. Now be ye not stiff-necked as your fathers were, but yield yourselves up unto Yahuwah, and enter into his sanctuary, which he hath sanctified forever, and serve Yahuwah your God, that the fierceness of his wrath may turn away from you. For if ye turn again unto Yahuwah, your brethren and your children shall find compassion before them that lead them captive, so that they shall come again into this land. For Yahuwah your God is gracious and merciful, and will not turn away his face from you, if ye return unto him. That's always good to remember. So the post passed from city to city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even unto Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless, divers of Asher and Manasseh and of Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. This is kind of like when you tell people today we should be keeping Yahuwah's feasts and his commands and stuff. They laughed you. This is how we ain't got to do that no more. Jesus can save us from all of that. I'm like, does Jesus trump Yahuwah? No, y'all got it twisted. Y'all really got it twisted. Yeah, so, but we ain't gonna get into that. So the post passed from city to city through the country of Ephraim and Manasseh, even unto Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless, divers of Asher and Manasseh and of Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. Also in Judah, the hand of Yahuwah was given to them one heart to do the commandment of the king and the princes by the word of Yahuwah. And there assembled at Jerusalem much people to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the 2nd month, a very great congregation. And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense took they away, and cast them into the brook Kidron. And then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the 2nd month, and the priests and the Levites were ashamed, and sanctified themselves, and brought in burnt offerings unto the house of Yahuwah. So if you remember, all the way back in Exodus, remember when Yahuwah explained to them how to keep the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and everything. And as they got out into the wilderness and they began to receive the commands from Moses that Yah had given them, they asked about if people were unclean during the Passover the 1st month, how could they would miss out on it, because they either they would stand and watch, or they were unclean for some reason, or they were away. They asked, was there anything that they could do where they could partake of it, and Yahuwah actually granted them. He said, okay. He said, they're right. The ones who stand and watch will be away. They won't be able to partake in it. He says, so I will allow you to observe the Passover again on the same days of the 2nd month, and they are to keep it then. So this is just reiterating that. So remember, for a while they haven't been keeping the Passover and unleavened bread. This is what all this is talking about. That's why I said back up here in verse 5, for they had not done it of a long time in such sort as it was written. They hadn't kept the Passover in a very long time in Feast of Unleavened Bread, because they completely turned away. The previous kings had led them into sin, and they weren't keeping any of Yah's commands. So every time a righteous king gets in place, he sets everything back in order, and the blessing returns on Yahuwah's people. So they actually got to celebrate it. They actually got to celebrate it, but they celebrated it in the second month. And there assembled Jerusalem much people to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the second month, a very great congregation. Did I go down here this far? Okay, verse 14. And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars for incense took they away and cast them into the brook Kidron. Then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the second month, and the priests and the Levites were ashamed and sanctified themselves and brought in burnt offerings unto the house of Yahuwah. And they stood in their place after their manner, according to the law of Moses, the man of Yahuwah. The priests sprinkled the blood which they received of the hand of the Levites. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore, the Levites had the charge of killing the Passovers for everyone that was not clean, to sanctify them unto Yahuwah. All right, man. Drive safe. For a multitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar, and Zebulun had not cleansed themselves, yet they did eat the Passover otherwise than it was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, Yahuwah, pardon everyone that prepareth his heart to seek Yahuwah, and Yahuwah, the God of his fathers, though he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And Yahuwah hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. So even though a great host of them still were not cleansed, remember, because they didn't come when they were sent out. They said, everybody come, we're going to celebrate this thing that Yahuwah has commanded us. And so they laughed them to scorn. But even after a while, even before the day, some of them, it says they were ashamed and they came down, but they hadn't cleansed themselves. So here's where we see some grace of Yah happen. When King Hezekiah knew that they weren't clean. That's why they couldn't prepare their own Passover. And it says the Levites prepared it for them because they weren't clean to do it. And King Hezekiah prayed for them. He said, Father, forgive them, cleanse them, let them partake. They're being obedient. They're not clean. They didn't prepare. But at the last minute, they changed their hearts and they came. So I'm asking you to pardon them and bless them. You know what it said? Yahuwah answered King Hezekiah's prayer, and he blessed and sanctified them that they could sit and all together and partake of the Passover and unleavened bread as Yahuwah commanded. Verse 20. And Yahuwah hearkened to Hezekiah and healed the people. And the children of Israel that were present at Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness. And the Levites and the priests praised Yahuwah day by day, singing with loud instruments unto Yahuwah. And Hezekiah spake comfortably unto all the Levites that taught the good knowledge of Yahuwah. And they did eat throughout the feast 7 days, offering peace offerings and making confession to Yahuwah, the God of their fathers. And the whole assembly took counsel to keep other 7 days, and they kept other 7 days with gladness, meaning they actually extended it out another 7 days because they were so blessed in that time of actually keeping Yah's command. They said, let's keep the party going. And they continued to worship and keep the feast another 7 days. For Hezekiah, king of Judah, did give the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 7,000 sheep. And the princes gave to the congregation 1,000 bullocks and 10,000 sheep. And a great number of priests sanctified themselves. And all the congregation of Judah, with the priests and the Levites, and all the congregation that came out of Israel, and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel, and that dwelt in Judah, rejoiced. So there was great joy in Jerusalem. For since the time of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, there was not the like in Jerusalem. So since the time of King Solomon, there was not a Passover feast and feast of unleavened bread held like it was this time right here. Then the priests, the Levites, arose and blessed the people, and their voice was heard, and their prayer came up to his holy dwelling place, even unto heaven. 2 Chronicles chapter 31. Now when all this was finished, all of Israel that were present went out to the cities of Judah and brake the images in pieces and cut down the groves and threw down the high places and the altars out of all of Judah and Benjamin, and Ephraim also and Manasseh, until they utterly destroyed them all. Then all the children of Israel returned, every man to his possession, into their own cities. And Hezekiah appointed the courses of the priests and the Levites after their courses, every man according to his service, the priests and the Levites for the burnt offerings and for the peace offerings, to minister and to give thanks and to praise in the gates of the tents of Yahuwah. Hey, chill, y'all. He appointed also the king's portion of his substance for the burnt offerings, to wit, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths, and for the new moons, and for the set feasts, as it is written in the law of Yahuwah. And remember, if y'all don't remember, I was kind of early on in the beginning when they're offering sacrifices. Remember, y'all, they're cooking meals. And a lot of people get the wrong, it's just, sacrifices are taught wrong. They're really taught wrong. They're literally coming together and they're having a big feast. All you would see, because the priests were literally the butchers and the cooks and stuff. You know, they were to do certain things and offer and give thanks. Just like when we cook our food and we say grace. Father, thank you for you are worthy of the first and best portion of all that you have given unto us. You are worthy, and we thank you for this. And that's what they were doing, y'all. They were thanking y'all for the food, and they will offer him. They will give thanks. They will give thanksgiving. And he told, and all the parts, he taught them how to cook it, how to clean it. He said, this part, pour the blood out, burn up the fat. All that they were essentially cooking meals, and they were following the directions on how to cook it, and they were giving praise and thanks and honor unto Yah for what he had done for them. And the people came together. It was a family meal, Sunday meals and stuff. We come together, or we had a cookout. We gather together, all this stuff. We come together and we eat together. We share a meal and we bless Yah, for all that he has given unto us and blessed us with, So when you think about this and you read the sacrifice, just think if you actually read it without interpretations of other people, like if you've never read this book before and you didn't have any kind of interpretation of other people, you would actually get that. It won't be so hard to understand, So I would recommend that when you read it, start from the very beginning. Don't do like most of the church teach you, start in the New Testament or start in John. Don't do that, because you have to learn about Yah. You got to start at the beginning. Otherwise, you get this whole screwed up concept of who Yah is and what he's done. You can't start in the middle of the story. You have to start at the beginning, and you have to see it through the eyes of Yah. And the way people do it when they come into the faith or whatever, they got them looking at it backwards, so they have no clue who Yah is, what he's done. They're just reading like cliff notes of history and stuff, and you cannot do that. That's why a lot of our people get off and they don't quite understand this. There's no substance there in their life or anything. You must start at the beginning. And you have to see this through the eyes of Yah and not through the eyes of everybody else. Once you see it through the eyes of Yah, as you read through, you can tell different things that have been added, and you can tell when things are missing and things that have been taken away. And Yah said we are not to do that. So if you start at the beginning and go forward that way, it's easy to pick up things, because there's a lot of leaven in the New Testament, y'all. There are some things that have been added to the old, but like I said, if you start at the beginning, and I'm praying, ask y'all to open your eyes and see, you'll be like, wait a minute, something is missing here. How is that? And y'all begin to reveal that to you. I mean, it just comes alive in a whole different way, and you just understand it. It's I don't know, you just understand it with the understanding that you've never had before, So, all right, let me finish reading. Verse 3. No, I'll just start at 2 again. And Hezekiah appointed the courses of the priests and the Levites after their courses, every man according to his service, the priests and Levites for burnt offerings and for peace offerings, to minister and to give thanks and to praise in the gates of the tents of Yahuwah. He appointed also the king's portion of his substance for the burnt offerings, to wit, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths and for the new moons and for the set feasts, as it is written in the law of Yahuwah. Moreover, he commanded the people that dwelt in Jerusalem to give the portion of the priests, and the Levites, that they might be encouraged in the law of Yahuwah. And as soon as the commandment came abroad, the children of Israel brought in abundance the first fruits of corn, wine, and oil, and honey, and all the increase of the field, and all the tithe of all things brought they forth in abundance. And remember, there's also like the feast of first fruits, like when you remember, because they were farmers and they had herds and cattle and stuff, and so the first fruit we offer it. They have like a wave offering or a sheaf offering. The first that we harvest from our gardens or whatever. It's like, and we take it and we wave it. It's literally what it is. It's a wave offering. What, Jeremiah?
You say about the transition.
Wait a minute. Pause. Hold it 1 second.
That's actually happening right now.
Okay, hold that thought. Let me finish. Okay, hold it for a second. He's so excited when he find out stuff. He come tell me. Okay, so a wave or a sheaf offering, that's literally what it's just like. It's another way of thanking y'all. Oh, Father, thank you so much for these, whatever you're harvesting, tomatoes, your barley or whatever. Thank you for this, for blessing. It's literally, that's what a wave offering or a sheaf offering. The first fruits of what we get, and then we give it to the priest and we partake of it. We literally, you guys, this is so beautiful when you read it and understand it without the wrong interpretations that people have given us. It will blow you away. That's why I'm so excited when I read it. People are like, how can this girl be so excited about reading the Bible? I was like, because y'all have to understand, this is so alive, and it blows my mind. Y'all get it. I'm just super excited about reading it all the time. Hence why we're doing it every morning, So I want to make sure you understand it in truth, but yeah, it's what it is. It's thank you, Father, for blessing the work of our hand, for blessing our ground, for giving us, letting the land produce food that's going to keep us alive. We just thank you for this. And that's what it is. A sheaf or a wave offering. We wave it before him and we give him thanks, So, it's simple, y'all. It's so simple, and it's so beautiful, and it causes you to have a deeper love and honor and respect, and it's just beautiful.
COVID might have transitioned.
Okay, Jamal, hold that thought 1 second. I'm almost done reading. Then we'll talk about this. Okay. He's super excited like I am, y'all. Y'all hear him in the background. Let me finish. Hold on, Jamal. Hold on. Okay. And as verse 5, and as soon as the commandment came abroad, the children of Israel bought an abundance of the first fruits of corn, wine, and oil, and honey, and of all the increase of the field, and the tithe of all things bought they in abundantly. And concerning the children of Israel and Judah that dwelt in the cities of Judah, that they bought in the tithe of oxen and sheep, and the tithe of holy things which were consecrated unto Yahuwah their God, and laid them by the heaps. In the 3rd month they began to lay the foundation of the heaps, and they finished them in the 7th month. And when Hezekiah and the princes came and saw the heaps, they blessed Yahuwah and his people Israel. Then Hezekiah questioned with the priests and the Levites concerning the heaps. And Azariah, the chief priest of the house of Zadok, answered him and said, since the people began to bring the offerings into the house of Yahuwah, we have had enough to eat, and have plenty left, for Yahuwah hath blessed his people, and that which is left is this great store. So remember, the priests, when Yahuwah sanctified the priests, remember, they didn't inherit land, although they did have land within each of the tribes, so they had their own cities and stuff. But Yahuwah was the portion of the priest. So everything that the people blessed y'all with, y'all in turn took all of that stuff. Like you said today, you hear pastors and stuff, they say bring all the tithe. They take it. They have it depends. It just depends on who the pastor is. I'm not gonna say they're all that way, because all of them are not. All of them are not charlatans. They're really not. Some of them are just truly ignorant. But it's the people that when they thank y'all, they bless him. You got to give it to somebody. So Yahuwah sanctified the priests and the Levites. He says, so all this stuff that you bring in, that you're giving to me, that you're blessing me with, take it and give it to the priests. And this is my portion that you're giving to me, I'm going to bless them with. So everything that the people gave to Yah in turn gave it to the priests, because they were the ones who handled ministering to Yah, and they taught the law and all that. So what you get it, they kind of teach that part, right, or whatever. In church or wherever you go, but they kind of take advantage. Not all of them. Some kind of take advantage of it. But you got to understand that was the people weren't bringing it in to give to the priest. They gave it to the priest in a heart that this is my portion that I've dedicated to Yah. And since he's entrusted you with all that we bring, they had to give it to somebody physically. They praised Yah, they thanked him, and then they took it into the house of Yah and gave it to the priest. And Yahuwah blessed the people for bringing in a portion that they dedicated to them. And Yahuwah said, here, my priests and my Levites, all that the people have blessed me with, I'm giving to you. And that's how the priests were taken care of. That's what he just said. He said, since the people started obeying Yah, we haven't had need for anything, and we have all this abundance left. So everybody in turn was taken care of. It was like I don't know, for lack of better words, it was a beautiful circle of life. The people bless and thank Yah, and Yahuwah bless the priests. And as the people bless Yah, Yah blessed the people and continued to give them increase and stuff that they could continue bringing in and blessing and giving Yah the portion that he gave in the priests. And it's like it's like a beautiful circle where everybody is taken care of, when their eyes are in the right place, and like the priests, they sought Yah, and the people, they sought Yah. So with that whole circular, it's a word I'm looking for, y'all. But y'all get what I'm saying. Everybody depended on Yah, and Yah caused it to fall out in a way that was perfect. So the people blessed Yah, Yah blessed the people. They brought in the first fruits and thanked Yah, and Yah in turn gave it to the priests. The priests dedicated as well, and it was like they were able to, life just went on beautifully, and nobody had need of anything, and even for the people who had left, Yah also put something in place where there should never be anybody hungry amongst us. Tara said, so is tithe supposed to be to pay the pastor, staff, and bills of the church? Okay. Technically, Tara, what you said is okay. It's correct when you put it like that, the way you put it technically. Okay. So technically you're right, but don't look at it that way. You're giving out of a heart of gladness and honor and thanks to Yah. Because if you start looking at it that way, yeah, it that is a whole lesson by itself, Tiffany. And here's where a lot of Yahuwah's people get sidetracked, and they get mad with the church and stuff. When they start looking at it that way, I mean, you explained it right, Tara, but when people start looking at it that way, people kind of they take their eyes off of Yah, and what it's technically, Yah's going to give it to them so they can pay that, but that's not how you're supposed to be looking at it. We know this because everything that comes into the house to the priest, Yah gives it to those who are in charge of it. But a lot of people get off track, and they say if the pastor or the teacher teaches something they don't like, they feel like they have a right. They feel like, well, I'm paying your salary, pastor, and it's people looking at it wrong, and then they begin to withhold from Yah in order to get back at the pastor. And I hope I'm explaining that the right way, But that seemed to be the way that it's going a lot of time, and people, I ain't getting them nothing. They and you hear me talking about they charlatans. I ain't gonna give my money to a charlatan either. But I understand. If I clearly see a charlatan in the pulpit, you're not gonna get the money, because for one, either you're off with Yah, or you're not even assigned there anywhere. But a lot of people take up the role and they take up the job of being a pastor or teachers in the pulpit because they see it's very profitable, and that's wrong. And if that was their thoughts in the first place, they should not even be there. And I can almost guarantee you that they were not chosen for that position, because of their heart, they should not be there. And there's a lot of them that are there because being in the pulpit nowadays with the modern, how it's set up modern, it's very profitable. It is very profitable. And we've seen a lot of this stuff, the charlatans in the news and stuff, taking advantage of the people. Even the pastor talking about, send your stimulus checks in here to the church house. I'm like, ooh, if you don't repent, Rona is coming for you, pastor. He coming for you. You should not be in that pulpit. And I read it. I'm just like, I really get heated and my blood boils when I see people who name the name of Yah or call themselves believers, and they begin taking advantage of people because they realize that people, when it comes to spiritual things, people tend to get very vulnerable, and they tend to want to believe those who are in leadership. That's why those who stand in that place, they really should be living a pure and holy life, and they really should be seeking y'all daily, because it's really easy to get your eyes off when you start seeing that money come in. Because think about it. Think about one of the biggest sins of the priests, of y'all's priests. What was it? It was idolatry. That was one of the biggest sins of the priests. They saw all the things that the people could bring in when they weren't on track with y'all at all time. And you'll see it, that was the biggest sins of the priests. So you have the people who stand in that place, even those who are set apart for that, who are true Levites by blood. They have to be very, very careful about those things. And that's something I understood early. That's why I was like, Father, and I believe that's why y'all blesses my family business. I said, I don't ever want to get off track because of money. I said, so bless the work of our hands, so that way, if you ever use me, I don't care if people give money or not. I would much rather have it to where the people don't send any money. I say, you have them send it somewhere else, but I'll freely do this for you. I say, just take care of my family, and y'all has been faithful. Like, it doesn't cost me anything to do a live video reading the scriptures to you. Well, I ain't up here telling you to send money. So I'm take care of your family. Whatever the government is giving you, take that. Bless your own household. Make sure you can keep your own lights and stuff on. Y'all, I'll pray for you, and y'all, it doesn't cost me anything to do that. I'm doing that anyway. I'm just reaffirming you, letting you know, hey, I'll pray for you, sis, bro. I'll pray for you. Yeah, we're gonna believe that y'all's gonna, if you're being faithful, y'all's gonna do this for you. He's gonna hear your prayer. It doesn't cost me anything to do that. It never costs anybody anything to tell people about the goodness of y'all. It doesn't. But people realize that people are grateful to y'all, and they're willing to give their last dime if they believe y'all is gonna hear them and bless them. And when they start getting blessed, people want to bless people. And people who are in positions of leadership and authority, they see that and they play on that, and then their mind switches over and they're taken by idolatry. Now money becomes their God. So that's why all those who teach, they should have some type, and although y'all bless them, he's their portion and he blessed them. If you have a huge family, that should already be worked out. That should already be worked out before you get in there. I mean, that's the process of it. That should already be worked out, so you're not taken by money. Especially when people, they come in and, oh, I got this, or Pastor, I need your prayer. I got 10,000. I just want to bless somebody. Some people hear numbers and stuff, and they're taken by big numbers, and we're not taken by money, because y'all has trained us for many. We've been in business for ourselves since 2008, and we've seen a lot of money in our days. So people, we're not moved by money. It's nice to have money, but I mean, we've had, in the process of time, Yahuwah has worked a lot of those kinks out of us to where, so what? Keep your money. I'm not moved by money. So, but that's a really big thing. So if you pay attention and you see preachers and even priests and stuff that are in there, and you think you got to use wisdom, because if they're taken by money, a lot of times they're in disobedience to Yah, and what you're giving, granted, like I said, you shouldn't be like, I don't know if I'm going to give my money there because they're going to go do this and they're going to do that. But your thought should be, Father, I'm blessing you with this. And whatever they're doing with that, you're going to bless me because I gave to you out of the right heart. Even if you didn't know, say maybe you think your pastor's doing what's right, but maybe behind the scenes, you don't see he may be a charlatan doing other things and not being a good steward of what Yah has been blessing his ministry with. Yah will still bless you because you gave out of a heart that was right. But he'll deal with the pastor who misused and mishandled those funds and that are doing things behind the scenes that most of his people probably can't readily see. At least those who are not that close to him, So when you're giving your tithes and offerings, you're giving it to bless Yah. That's the heart that we should give it in, tithes, offerings, or whatever you want to call it. And then Yahuwah will let them know how, the priests or the pastors, how it should be distributed. Because not all pastors, not all of them have a four-wall church. They don't have a physical building. Some of them have online ministries, or they may be missionaries or whatever. And people send them money and they take it and they actually eat with it or whatever. But it's different things. But technically, Tara, it will take care of the needs of the house of Yah, according to how Yah said. But it's not always done in the appropriate manner, because a lot of the people, they're in idolatry, and their God is money and not Yah, so. But technically, Tara, what you said, so his tithe supposed to be to pay the pastor, staff, and the bills of the church. Technically, that's right, but like Tiffany said, that's a whole another lesson by itself. So, all right, but I hope y'all get what I'm saying. So when you give it, you giving it like you're giving it to Yah, so we won't leave it at that. All right, so where did I stop, y'all? Verse 9. Then Hezekiah questioned with the priests and the Levites concerning the heaps. And Azariah, the chief priest of the house of Zadok, answered him and said, since the people began to bring the offerings into the house of Yahuwah, we have had enough to eat and have left plenty. For Yahuwah hath blessed his people, and that which is left is this great store. Then Hezekiah commanded to prepare the chambers in the house of Yahuwah, and they prepared them, and they brought in the offerings and the tithes and the dedicated things faithfully, over which Coniah the Levite was ruler, and Shimei his brother was the next, and Jahiel and Azaziah and Nahath and Asahel and Jeremoth and Jozabad and Eliel and Ishmachiah and Mahath and Benaiah were overseers under the hand of Coniah and Shimei his brother, at the commandment of Hezekiah the king, and Azariah the ruler of the house of Yahuwah. And Korah the son of Imnah the Levite, the porter toward the east. Josiah, chill, you're too loud. And Korah, the son of Imnah the Levite, the porter toward the east, was over the freewill offerings of Yahuwah, to distribute the oblations of Yahuwah and the most holy things. And next him were Eden and Miniam and Jeshua and Shemaiah, Amariah and Shechaniah, in the cities of the priests in their set office, to give to their brethren by courses, as well to the great as to the small, beside their genealogy of males, from 3 years old and upward, even until everyone that entereth into the house of Yahuwah, his daily portion for their service and their charges according to their courses, both to the genealogy of the priests by the house of their fathers, and the Levites from 20 years old and upward in their charges by their courses, and to the genealogy of all their little ones, their wives and their sons and their daughters, through all the congregation, for in their set office they sanctified themselves in holiness. Also the sons of Aaron, the priests, which were in the fields of the suburbs of their cities, in every several city, the men that were expressed by name, to give portions to all the males among the priests, and to all that were reckoned by genealogies among the Levites. And thus did Hezekiah through all of Judah, and wrought that which was good and right and truth before Yahuwah his God, and in every work that he began in the service of the house of Yahuwah, and in the law and in the commandments, to seek Yahuwah, and he did it with all his heart and prospered. All right, y'all, last chapter for today. 2 Chronicles chapter 32, and it's 33 verses, y'all. After these things, the establishment thereof, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came and entered into Judah and encamped against the fenced cities, and thought to win them for himself. And when Hezekiah saw that Sennacherib was come, and that he was purposed to fight against Jerusalem, he took counsel with his princes and his mighty men to stop the waters of the fountains which were without the city, and they did help him. So there was gathered much people together, who stopped all the fountains and the brook that ran through the midst of the land, saying, why should the king of Assyria come and find much water? Also he strengthened himself and built up all the wall that was broken, and raised it up to the towers, and another wall without, and repaired Milo in the city of David, and made darts and shields in abundance. And he set captains of war over the people, and gathered them together to him in the street of the gate of the city, and spake comfortably to them, saying, be strong and courageous, be not afraid nor dismayed for the king of Assyria, nor for all the multitude that is with him, for there be more with us than with him. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is Yahuwah our God to help us and to fight our battles. And the people rested themselves upon the words of Hezekiah, the king of Judah. I mean, if Yah is for us, who can be against us? He said, yeah, they got mighty men of flesh, but we have our God standing behind us. Oh, if people would think like that today, all the things that could be accomplished in Yahuwah's people and how much Yahuwah's name would literally be famous in all the world right now if his people would just realize that thing right there. Oh, but that day is coming. It's coming really soon. With him is an arm of flesh, but with us is Yahuwah our God to help us and to fight our battles. Joshua and Josiah, lower your voices. And the people rested themselves upon the words of Hezekiah, the king of Judah. After this did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, send his servants to Jerusalem, but he himself laid siege against Lachish, and all his power with him, unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, and unto all of Judah that were at Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith Sennacherib, king of Assyria, Whereon do ye trust that ye abide in the siege at Jerusalem? Doth not Hezekiah persuade you to give over yourselves to die by famine and by thirst, saying that Yahuwah our God shall deliver us out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Hath not the same Hezekiah taken away his high places and his altars, and commanded Judah and Jerusalem, saying, Ye shall worship before one altar and burn incense upon it? Know ye not what I and my fathers have done unto all the people of the other lands? Were the gods of the nation of those lands in any ways able to deliver their lands out of my hand? He was quite cocky, wasn't he? He said, y'all done tore down all y'all altars, so y'all pretty much, y'all don't have multiple gods protecting y'all. Now y'all only worship one God, and y'all think this one God gonna help y'all against me, King Sennacherib, who is famous in all the earth? Y'all think y'all one God, y'all should have left y'all altars up. That's what he's saying. He's taunting them. He's quite cocky. But watch this. Know ye not what I and my fathers have done unto all the people of the other lands? Were the gods of the nations of those lands in any ways able to deliver their lands out of my hand? Who was there among all the gods of those nations that my fathers utterly destroyed, that could deliver his people out of my hand, that your God should be able to deliver you out of my hand? He sealed his fate with those words. Now therefore let not Hezekiah deceive you, nor persuade you on this manner, neither yet believe him. For no God of any nation or kingdom was able to deliver his people out of my hand and out of the hand of my fathers. How much less shall your God deliver you out of my hand? And his servant spake yet more against Yahuwah and against his servant Hezekiah. He wrote also letters to rail on Yahuwah, the God of Israel. I mean, he was talking mad junk against Yah. He said, who is this Yahuwah? He's not going to deliver you out of my hand. Did you hear what my father's done to the other nations? Oh, I'm even stronger than my fathers. You think your one God is going to defeat me? Like he was sending them letters, taunting them, trying to make them afraid and everything. So listen to this. And his servant spake yet more against Yahuwah and against his servant Hezekiah. He wrote also letters to rail on Yahuwah, the God of Israel, and to speak against him, saying, As the gods of the other nations of other lands have not delivered their people out of my hand, so shall not the God of Hezekiah deliver his people out of my hand. Then they cried with a loud voice in the Jews' speech unto the people of Jerusalem that were on the wall to affrighten them and to trouble them, that they might take the city. And they spake against the God of Jerusalem as against the gods of the people of the earth, which were the work of the hands of man. What they didn't realize is that the God of Israel, the God of King Hezekiah, was not something made by the works of men's hands. He is the living God, and he about to find it out real quick. And for this cause, Hezekiah the king and the prophet Isaiah the son of Amos prayed and cried to heaven, and Yahuwah sent an angel which cut off all the mighty men of valor and the leaders and captains in the camp of the king of Assyria. So he returned with shame of face to his own land. And when he was coming to the house of his God, they that came forth of his own bowels slew him there with the sword. Like, he was defeated. And when he went back full of shame, his own people, his own family, it said those who came out of his own loins slew him. Thus Yahuwah saved Hezekiah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem from the hand of Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, and from the hand of all other, and guided them on every side. And many brought gifts unto Yahuwah at Jerusalem, and presents to Hezekiah the king of Judah, so that he was magnified in the sight of all nations from thenceforth. In those days Hezekiah was sick to the death, and prayed unto Yahuwah, and he spake unto him, and he gave him a sign. But Hezekiah rendered not again according to the benefit done unto him, for his heart was lifted up. Therefore was wrath upon him and upon Judah and Jerusalem. See how sometime the king, and although listen, you'll see, because y'all's gonna answer a prayer, but he got lifted up. And when all the nations began to praise him because of what Yah had done, he began to take a little bit of that praise upon himself, like it was him that was able to do this, and not the hand of Yah, who defeated all his enemies and caused them to have peace and rest on every side. He forgot that it was Yah that was on his side. So listen to this. I read 25 again. But Hezekiah rendered not again according to the benefit done unto him, what Yahuwah had done unto him. He stopped praising Yah for Yah being the cause of this happening in his life. For his heart was lifted up, meaning he became full of pride. Therefore there was wrath upon him and upon Judah and Jerusalem. Notwithstanding, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, meaning he repented, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of Yahuwah came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. And Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor, and he made himself treasuries for silver and for gold and for precious stones and for spices and for shields and for all manner of pleasant jewels, storehouses also for the increase of corn and wine and oil, and stalls for all manner of beasts and coats for flocks. Moreover, he provided him cities and possessions of flocks and herds in abundance, for Yahuwah hath given him substance very much. This same Hezekiah also stopped the upper watercourse of Gihon and brought it straight down to the west side of the city of David, and Hezekiah prospered in all his works. Howbeit, in the business of the ambassadors of the princes of Babylon, who sent unto him to inquire of the wonder that was done in the land, Yahuwah left him to try him, that he might know all that was in his heart. Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and his goodness, behold, they are written in the vision of Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos, and in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. And remember, also, we'll learn, when we get to the book of Isaiah, we'll read a little bit more about Hezekiah's sickness. He was sick unto death because of the pride of his heart. And the prophet Isaiah loved King Hezekiah. He was the prophet that was assigned to King Hezekiah during his day. And he prayed and he cried out to Yah. And, it says here that Hezekiah humbled himself and repented. And Yahuwah lengthened his life by 15 years, so. Verse 33. And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the chiefest of the sepulchres of the sons of David. And all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem did him honor at his death, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. I hope you enjoyed it. That was 2 Chronicles 30, 31, and 32. It is day 132 of reading through the instructions of Yahuwah, which is reiterated by his prophets. It is Tuesday, April the 28th, 2020. And we're going to go ahead and do this blessing and get about our day. And the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise shall you bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. And may Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And Yahuwah said, They shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I myself will come and bless them. So be blessed, y'all. I love y'all. And I will see y'all bright and early in the morning. Peace. Press the button, girl. Press the button.